Hey guys, welcome to episode 5. Hope you guys are staying safe. The new quarantine, new normal, I guess I should say. I'm recording this from my kitchen counter, and there's dogs and kids and distractions, and it's just totally nuts. So I know you guys feel the same way. And, part of that conversation is the same disciplines and habits that we might have had before have kind of been flipped upside down, and makes it a little more challenging to be able to have those same rituals. A lot of conversation that we've been having right now is health, nutrition, and fitness. And the same disciplines and routines that were once normal, like going to the gym, are no longer possible. So this week we sat down with Eddy. He's our special guest. He's got probably every certification that you could want in the fitness and nutrition game. He's an absolute beast, and he gave some incredible insight and tactical, strategic things that we could use in our own daily life when we're still at home. Everything from body weight and not having equipment to making sure that you have a good morning routine and stay disciplined even though you're commuting to your kitchen. So I know you guys will get a ton out of this. We did. It was an amazing episode. We're flattered that he would be on the show, and we just appreciate it so much. So let's get into it.
Welcome, everybody. We got a special guest today, and we have now officially met virtually. Eddy, is actually Rod Herb's personal fitness coach, and I know has become a great friend and ultimately mentor. I feel like I know you just through Rod. All the stuff that he's borrowed from you, and ultimately our listeners will be able to borrow from you. But what really, to give context to the listener, what really grabs my mind or grabs my eye about your bio is that you are a core part of your business is that you've obviously been serious about your health and fitness personally for decades now, have been a personal trainer for a long time, but ultimately have experience in this remote trainer fitness deal. And a lot of times that's new right now with the shift, what we're going through right now in the US and the world, that's new to a lot of people. So I'm just so anxious to start asking you some questions. But before I do, I don't want to skip over maybe a little bit about you, your background, and how you got into what you're doing, Brett.
Yeah, so I actually came out of college as a business major. Went into a wholesale distribution business with my father. And we've owned that for 18 years now. But about 10 years into that, I kind of just got that feeling that, I wasn't giving anything back. I wasn't helping others grow the way I wanted to. And I'd always really been into health and fitness, and I'd been one of those guys that everyone would come up to and be like, what should I do? What should I be doing? And so I started education at that time and officially go into personal training. I was a CrossFit coach temporarily as well. But then from there, my wife and I ended up opening OPEC South Lake. And OPEC South Lake is a personalized fitness gym. So the way it works is clients come in for an assessment, and then based on their needs, their current fitness level, their goals, their daily lifestyle, everything goes into it. From there, we program workouts for them that they come into the gym and do while coaches are here to supervise them. Now, in addition to that, we've been doing remote coaching online for about 3 years now.
That's fascinating. Yeah, and that's what grabs my eye. I've borrowed from watching, Rod obviously see some really good results in his own life, but also the way that the information is delivered and the way that it's customized to the individual. But ultimately, that remote experience, we're going to borrow a lot from in this conversation. So, and I looked at your socials, and you're an absolute beast.
Beast mode.
Thanks,
so clearly, if you're listening and not watching, even if there was nothing that you took from this, clearly what you're doing in your own life is very effective. And I know we're going to talk a lot about probably what your daily routines, some things that you found really work for you. But with that, Rod, Brett, I'd open it up for a few questions. Really, just get us cracking.
Yeah, man. Well, Brett, thanks for being on. This is awesome. You got an amazing name, and I kind of look the same way as you, so this is perfect. Yeah, for those that are listening and not watching, that is definitely not the case.
Brett was doing push-ups like 10 minutes before we got on. just to make sure that he was revved up.
Got a little pump.
Nothing wrong with
You got to do it. Well, I had a quick question for you, probably for my own personal life, because I'd love to I want to take advantage of this session, right? Well, we'll get a free coaching session here, and hopefully the listeners get some value out of it. But I've found it really I like to go to the gym. I'm a big go to the gym guy. I like to put on my battle armor. It's part of my routine. And I always do better when I walk into the doors of my place of, the playground where I'm actually going to execute my plan. And I have found it to be challenging now with being, this quarantine situation of my morning routine is kind of jumbled. I find myself, rolling out of bed and just going to work. I hate to admit it, but I walk, I get a cup of coffee. I don't have my morning shower. I just jump on my laptop and I immediately start working, right? And then I say, I'm going to get my workout in later today. And I've done a decent job of getting it in, but it's erratic. I'm all over the place. It's different times. And I'm just having a hard time getting into my rhythm now, not being able to go to the gym. Can you, obviously you have tons of clients and tons of different people that you're coaching. What advice would you give me, somebody who's used to going somewhere to work out, to now can't do that? What are some things that maybe I can do to establish maybe some more rhythm?
Yeah, so what you described, Brett, is exactly what we're seeing from our clients who have transitioned from the gym environment to a home environment. And it's definitely been a challenge for them. So the first and foremost is sleep. So we want to go back to the bedtime and the wake up time. And now that everyone's home, we kind of tend to get away from that. It's like, I don't have to drive into work. I can sleep an extra hour. But if we take that time, now we have more time than we've ever had. We don't have the commutes. We don't have kids' activities in the evenings. We don't have social life in the evenings. So it all comes down to that to start. So, they say win the morning, win the day. But I would say you have to win at night too. You need to be in bed in time to get that morning time set. So I'd start there. And then from there, it's just planning out, when are my meal times going to be and what is my work structure? Because you guys probably have a good idea of what your work's going to be. Now, one big challenge is definitely that working from home, you feel like you can work all the time. So I think there needs to be a clear separation there of, this is when I'm clocking in for the day and this is when I'm going to clock out for the day. And you need to honor that just like you would if you were a business. Still set aside family time, set aside time to get up, stretch, move, do whatever you need to do, but have that day planned out where this is my day. I wake up, I have breakfast, I work out, then I get ready for work, still get ready, shower, get dressed just like you're going into the office. And then go into the office, but you're just doing it at home.
That's a great ritual. So the big one that sticks out to me is the bedtime. I can totally relate to this. It's funny. That used to be a challenge for me in my past life, where I would just work and stay up late, and the kids are down, so you've got time to be with my wife and hang out. But the morning gym that came at 6 a.m. was kind of like you better go to bed, because you're not going to be the one showing up to the gym and your workout partner's there waiting on you. We've all been there. So that's kind of been my reinforcement, if you will, to kind of go to bed early. But now during this type of environment, I have an extra glass of wine at night. I'm enjoying it. I'm with family. I get to bed late. And you're right, it does perpetuate, because I even if I get up in the morning, because I've been decent about getting up, I'm not getting into that ritual. I'm tired, I'm groggy, and I'm just, I kind of just roll into my activities instead of setting clear intentions. I totally relate to that.
Yeah, no, and that's kind of what everyone's feeling right now. And if you could just do little things habit-wise, whether it's as soon as you wake up, you put on your workout clothes, just to get that mindset going right from the beginning of the day. Or maybe you mix up your pre-workout when you go downstairs. Just little things like that have triggered that mindset that, okay, I'm getting ready to work out. That's what I'm going to do this morning. I'm ready to go.
It's funny you mentioned that, Brett. I know you're big on sleep. You and I've had many conversations about sleep over the past year, and just a quick little tangent. I received a video from Brett yesterday morning. Today we're recording this on April 2nd. I received a really cool video at 7 a.m. or 6 a.m. or something, which the time wouldn't surprise you. I mean, Brett will tell you he gets up pretty early, so he was probably already having lunch at that time. But it was a video from him that said it was my 1 year anniversary since joining his gym and officially meeting him. So it's pretty cool that we're doing this a year later. And I've learned an unbelievable amount from you. And specific to my question, I'm thinking about is you talk about sleep. We've talked about sleep. Really, you and I a lot, probably for the last 6 months. It's always something I've struggled with. Recently, prior to this shift to the home environment, I had found some really good rhythm and started having some sleep. I have not slept well at all since this home shift. Are you finding that I'm not the only one? And I know, Brett, what you said about, you stay up, you're having a glass of wine. I've had more evenings where I've had a cocktail to wind down the evening. I've gone on more walks in the last 2 weeks than I've gone in the last 15 years. And I've probably had more, evening cocktails over the last 14 days I've had of it. But I guess my question is this: if that's a common theme with people that they're having struggles with sleep, and I know why. You've got a lot on your mind. You're adjusting to a new normal. Is there something obvious I'm missing? Because I can, like last night, Brett and Taylor and I texted all hours. I went to bed last night, and I bet you I feel like I was asleep before I hit the pillow, and I slept really hard until like 11, and then woke up and I'm like, I can't do this all night. So anyway, what I'm getting at is there anything obvious that I'm missing that other people may be missing to make sleep such a struggle in these last couple of weeks, aside from being distracted with what's going on and having your mind run about that? Is there something in general that we're missing?
No, I don't think so. To be honest, probably the first week the gym was closed, I really struggled sleeping. I was able to go to bed on time, but same thing. I mean, the stress, the unknown, businesses, families, kids, you're just worried about everything. And as soon as you wake up, you start thinking about that stuff. I would definitely recommend having a bedtime routine consistently. You know what time you're going to bed, so it can be an hour before that. The electronics done. Where you mentioned you're texting late. It's just like, okay, I'm done with this. Shut down all electronics, TVs, everything. So maybe take that time and read. Reading definitely settles things down. But the thing that's helped me the most, and I've seen help a lot of other people, is actually journaling before bed. When you're super stressed out and you've got all of this in your mind and you just feel like it's not going anywhere, getting it out on paper is amazing. I mean, I can even tell you, I've woke up at 2 a.m, gone and got a sheet of paper, scribbled stuff down that I probably couldn't read the next morning, but it was enough that it cleared my mind and I was able to go back to sleep after that.
That'd be good practice for me. I've been getting up at 2 o'clock in the morning and going to the refrigerator and seeing what's in there to eat.
I definitely don't recommend that.
I'm definitely gonna grab my journal and implement that.
Get a glass of warm milk there, Rod. I wanted to talk a little bit about that and talked a little bit with Rod off camera about it. But would you walk us through your daily routine? Maybe give us the cliff notes of how you typically look as far as a bedtime, a wake up, and lunch and everything in between.
Sure. So it varies a little right now with this shift in schedules with the kids being home from school. But typical day, I'm up at 3:50. I make breakfast every day, so I don't have pre-made breakfast. I cook my breakfast, take a shower. From there, I'm usually at the gym to coach under normal circumstances. So right now that coaching routine has changed, and instead I'm coming in and creating content.
Uh-oh, we may have lost you.
for clients and communication with clients until lunch. From lunch is usually 12 o'clock, pretty early because I'm getting up so early. The rest of the afternoon right now is all over the place with kids. It's usually helping with homeschooling because we have 6 kids at home trying to do virtual school. So, yeah, so afternoons are a challenge right now. But typically it's just going to be, that's going to be my learning time. So I'm going to spend time in podcasts, books, videos, whatever education I'm working on, I'm going to do afternoon. And then once 5:30 hits, I shut everything down, and that's family time the rest of the night. So that's a normal day. Bedtime ends up, dinner's like 6 o'clock. Bedtime's usually 9. So
You're up at 3:50. That is absolute Spartan status.
Yeah. So the only thing I left out in the morning after breakfast, my wife and I do a devotional together, and then I do one by myself and usually spend some time in prayer or sort of gratitude. Pretty much the day as a whole.
That's fantastic. I was taking notes throughout that, but a portion of it may have cut out. So when do you get your workout in typically? I think I missed that part. Is that after breakfast in the morning or afternoon?
So right now it's after breakfast in the morning. Typically I would coach in the mornings and I would work out after I'm done coaching.
And do you have a preference over the years, whether you've seen clientele? It's kind of like some people say they're night owls and some people are early to bed, early to rise. Do you find a more effective time during the day? And specifically in our environment, I think I struggle with what Brett mentioned in a different way. I've found ways to get some sort of exercise and fitness in each day, but I feel like as the time goes on, it used to be a half-hour workout. Now it's a 20-minute, and then it goes to 15, and then it's like, oh, I'll just knock out some push-ups, and then go have a glass of wine and wind down. So, do you find it to be more effective to work out in the mornings? Is that something you've always done, or what?
So that's a great question, Taylor. When it comes to clients, I always say the best time for them to work out is the time that they know they can honor, that they know they can do the workout at that time. There's not going to be distractions. There's not going to be excuses as to why they can't train at that time. However, for me personally, it's morning. I definitely want to hit it early, have it done, and then I know nothing's going to pop up and keep me from being able to do it later on in the day.
Yeah, I've found that same thing in different ways. That's really cool to hear from you.
Yeah, and I would even say if we took our clients as a whole, it's a little over 100 clients, and we broke down compliance rates. The clients that train in the morning have a much higher compliance rate than the afternoon clients, no doubt.
And also to expand upon a little bit your background, I mean, obviously the list of certifications that you have in the space of health and fitness is too long to speak about. I mean, it's an impressive list, but one thing that I think makes you such a relevant guest outside of you being an awesome human being is nutrition and fitness and how you tie those together. And it seems that whether it be remote or in the gym or nutrition and fitness, that you view it, and it's not it's on purpose. It seems that you would mention sleep being so vital because you look at this thing holistically, and it seems like one affects the other. And I know during this time we've hit on workout and times and slots. How are you treating nutrition during this time, and what are some nuggets around nutrition during this crazy time when you're at home a lot more than you would be otherwise?
Okay. So first, I'm actually going to back up just a second there because you hit on a really big point there, talking about sleep, nutrition. So I view health as having 5 pillars. And to me, this is the order they go in. You could argue the order, but here nor there. Sleep, nourishment, movement. So that's going to be your training. Thinking. Now, that's 2 parts. So thinking is going to be 1, positive thinking, mindset. And then secondly, growth. Also, working on development. And then the final pillar would be relationships and having those deep connections. So I think those 5 things really determine our level of health. So going into the nutrition aspect specifically, though, it's a very interesting time for clients with nutrition because restaurants are closed. So if anything, you think, okay, I'm eating at home now, I should be good. The downside to that is I'm seeing a huge increase in snacking because it's like, oh, I'm home all day, I'll go to the pantry, I'm bored. So what I've really recommended to clients is, you're in your work environment during the day and you have set times that you're having your meals. And outside of that, you're not just walking to the pantry and pulling out whatever you want to snack on. A couple tips that tend to make it really easy to do, in my opinion, is to tell yourself that you'll only eat when you're at the kitchen table and there won't be a TV on while you're doing it and you won't be doing any work. If you honor that throughout the day, you'll see it's pretty hard to overconsume in that situation. It sounds simple, but we spend so much time. It's almost a natural habit. Oh, I'm going to sit on the couch, so I need to take a bowl of ice cream with me. So that would be my number one tip to get around that. But when it comes to nutrition overall, just the basics, eat whole foods and drink plenty of water. I will say water is another thing I've seen clients back off on because they're at home and they got that pot of coffee going all day and it's just coffee, and then late afternoon, drinks. So making water a priority would be the other factor I would say is super important right now.
That's great. That would be into the nourishment. I was funny. Right as you said that, I was going to have you rank a couple things because I wanted to hear your philosophy on this. And obviously that's amazing. So man, that's really cool to see you put sleep at the top, which is awesome. I'm definitely feeling challenged right now. This is good. So let's do this is kind of improv, but I'd love to know, obviously this is you eat, breathe, and sleep this, right? But we know that you're a human being like all of us, right? So obviously we know Rod's at 2 a.m. is a Captain Crunch bowl of cereal, but what is yours, man? What is yours like? Don't have it in the house. If it's in the house, like I'm in trouble.
I'd have to say Cheez-Its.
Cheez-Its, all right. That's a good one.
Or if you had chips and queso would kill me. No chips and queso.
That's a good leeway because that's what I want to know as a listener too. Is like, do you allow yourself to cheat? Do you have cheat days? Do you have cheat meals? Talk to us a little bit about the thought of progress over perfection. Is that something you buy into, or how do you treat that as far as nutrition goes?
So I'm really a firm believer in more of an 80-20 approach. I don't think we need to restrict ourselves completely. In the end, I think that leads to just completely breaking down and then you just binge and you're back where you started. So with that said, for me, I'll have random little snacks, maybe once or twice a week that would be out of the norm for my nutrition. And then my wife and I make a point every Friday night and every other Sunday night is like date night, and we'll do whatever it is. So, last week was sushi. Week before that's pizza. So we'll still have those meals like 4 to 6 times a month, but the rest of the meals are pretty clean.
Very cool. So you almost plan those so you can look forward to those. So like on a Thursday when you're thinking about, hey man, those Cheez-Its look great. You're like, no, tomorrow's my day. I almost gotta make sure I don't do that because I know for a fact on Friday I'm gonna cheat a little bit.
Yes, definitely. Having that mindset throughout the week helps, knowing, okay, yeah, I'm gonna enjoy this Friday night. Where I see people to run into a problem with that, though, is they're like, oh, I'm going to have a cheat meal Saturday. So Saturday they get up, they have Dunkin' Donuts, and then they're like, oh, well, I already had donuts. I might as well get wings and beer for lunch, and then that turns into pizza that night. And the one meal ends up being a whole day or a whole weekend. So that's where you've got to find that balance to where you can say, okay, I'm going to do this. This, is a reward rather than a cheat. Look at it as a reward for the work you're putting in, but then you don't ever want to do 2 in a row. Like that's my mindset going into it, is you don't want to do them back to back.
Yeah, that makes sense. I got a question.
You could almost make that. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Brett.
Go ahead, buddy. Go ahead.
You can almost make that a philosophy for anything. If I have a cheat meal, I'm not going to have a back-to-back cheat meal. Like you said, donuts and then wings and beer for lunch. Just like you said, I'm not going to have back-to-back cheat days. If I have a cheat day and it's out of sequence to where I'm normally, then my normal cheat day doesn't also get to count too.
Yeah, definitely.
The thought, Brett, why don't you go ahead and finish your thought, because I have a question when you're done.
Okay, my thought was this. I'm used to gym equipment. I'm used to going to the gym. I'm used to dumbbells. I'm used to all this fancy stuff that makes me feel way cooler than I am, right? And I like that because it's my routine. But now I'm stressed, or not stressed. I'm challenged to be in an environment where I've got to use whatever's available. And so I've been doing a lot of push-ups. I've been trying to find places to do pull-ups. I've been doing some sit-ups, which I don't usually do abs, so maybe that's a great thing. But I'm kind of challenged to try to figure out what to do. What would be your advice to somebody that doesn't have that routine, but doesn't have the equipment at their house, but still wants to take their fitness seriously during this next couple months where they don't have access to that stuff? What are some resources that you would drop to them? And then also maybe a workout routine or somewhere that they could find that stuff.
Okay, yeah. So I've actually been doing a daily workout that's no equipment every day and posting it on Instagram and Facebook. So if somebody wants to check those out, they're available. If you have any questions on them, you can just DM me and I'll answer any questions you have about it. But I include a video of what everything is so people know exactly what they're doing. And it's varied throughout the week. With that said, there's tons of other people on Instagram, especially, putting out a lot of good body weight workouts right now. I mean, if you just search a hashtag body weight workouts, you can find a lot of good stuff out there. I would say if you have the means, I would definitely get at least a set of dumbbells and potentially a kettlebell. What I tell guys that are relatively strong, if you can get like 25-pound, 35-pound, and 50-pound dumbbell, you're good. You don't even need the whole set. If you just have one, you can do single arm, single leg work all the time, and that'll be enough weight for you. But really, you just don't want to overcomplicate it right now. We're not going to have PRs right now. It's not, where we're getting ready for a cover of a magazine, but you just want to simplify it and do what you can. And yeah, it's a lot of body weight stuff, squats, lunges, push-ups. Pull-ups are great if you have a pull-up bar, and then a ton of abs. And cardio-wise, you're looking at running, burpees, things like that.
Very cool. That was my question, Ron.
Cool. Great question. Mine's similar. Mine's kind of on the back of that. So, Brett Young, you asked the question to kind of start this whole discussion of the person that's used to go to the gym and used to that routine. Brett, Eddy, what would you say to the person that is not necessarily the most active? Because we're talking, the basis for this podcast so far, this episode so far, has been the person that has some sort of benchmark for their own fitness and they're displaced because they can't go to the gym. I think about all the people that are at home that maybe didn't have that routine built into their lives and really maybe don't understand the importance of how positively that can impact their life or their productivity. But now we all agree there's a little bit more time now at home. You mentioned, Brett, Eddy, without the commute, when you're done, you're home, there's no activities in the evening. What would you say to the person, Brett, that maybe hasn't had a routine for working out, but now is a great time for some body weight activity or just some movement or some, the priority of walking and getting active? What would your message to them be as an attempt to try to influence them to take advantage of that time for their own gain, their own health?
So my recommendation with anyone starting out, and this is even with new clients coming into the gym, is to keep it simple and keep it manageable. So if all you can really commit to starting out is going on a 10-minute walk 4 days a week, then go on a 10-minute walk 4 days a week. Just check those boxes, and then you can gradually build on that. But setting yourself up for success in the beginning and establishing that goes a long way. It's really about just getting that habit started. I don't know if you guys have read Atomic Habits. Excellent book. And they mention a client in there that he actually would just go to the gym and stay there 5 minutes and leave. But he developed that habit and he became the guy that goes to the gym. So that's really what you're looking for. You want to start to become the person that works out, whether it's just a walk, 5 minutes of yoga, 10 minutes, whatever it is, just become that person. And then from there, you can build on top of that. But where you see the New Year's resolutions and the big goals fail is that people try and just go all in and it never works out. They just get completely burnt out, crash, and they're done.
So what would you say to that same person that maybe hasn't had that idea or discipline or habit built in, even to the smallest degree? What would you say to them about their productivity or the gain that they stand to benefit from in this stay-at-home climate?
Oh, sure. Yeah, no. Fitness is essential no matter what the environment, but especially when you're at home and you're under stress, there's no better stress reliever than fitness. Getting out and moving, especially if you can do it outside, get some fresh air. But being tied down inside all day is killer. So one would be the stress relief. And then second would be the increase in productivity. Every study out there shows you that people who train in the morning before work are more productive throughout the day, period. I mean, every study they've done on it, same results. So, if you're not just looking at it to look good, I totally understand that. We're not all trying to be fitness models or look jacked, but you have to look at it from all the other benefits like you're talking about, reduce stress, improve productivity, and then quality of life. Moving now is going to increase your quality of life later on. People who are very stagnant now and not doing anything, they really pay for it on the back end. That's a lot of people that, need assistance just to move when they're older because they can't squat. They can't get up from the floor if they fall down. So those are essential movements that people have to have and maintain. But without doing stuff, they do go away. And they go away pretty quickly.
Yeah, that book, Atomic Habits, is one of my favorite. I've listened to it. I've read it. I've heard the author. His name's escaping me on a podcast. And what it sounds like you're summarizing is maybe shift from working out for results and be involved in fitness or work out for the identity that it gives you that you're aspiring to. Is that kind of in summary and trying to figure out what that identity is? Because I've found it. I used to work out for results, more of an athletic background where I'm actually doing stuff to work out for something that some sort of benefit, whether it's I'm going to do squats so I can be more explosive or whatever it may be. And as I've, when you're an insurance agent, you don't necessarily need to do squats to become more explosive, right? So I've kind of really in my own mind processed that I'm really working on my fitness more for energy and, as you mentioned, quality of life. And for some reason that resonates with me better, maybe because I believe it more rather than, when I take my shirt off at the beach that people are impressed.
We're impressed. Don't worry.
No, definitely. So I look at that the same way I look at the businesses that I own. And that's you have to understand your why with anything that you're doing. And once you have that in place, you can build everything off of that. Whether if somebody has a goal to lose 15 pounds, there has to be something more behind that than the weight loss. Maybe it's they want to look good to find a mate, whatever it may be. Okay, that's a why. That gives you purpose behind that. And then you can take that and instead of just saying, okay, I want to lose 15 pounds, now let's put that into action. So how are we going to lose 15 pounds? So 4 days a week of training and maybe only eating out twice a week. So maybe those are the metrics you set up, and then you just work on checking those boxes as you go.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, man, I'll tell you what, I have seen a massive increase in productivity just from my own personal life, from working out in the morning, getting up at a specific time and having that morning routine. It gets addicting. So this whole environment situation is certainly a challenge, but at least I have a reference point to know what it should feel like. It's been a race for me if I know I'm off the path and I want to get back on the path. But it's been a massive pivot in my life to know that it's not just about looking good. It's not just even about being healthy. For me, it truly is about feeling good about myself at the end of the day, to know that I move the ball forward and that I'm on that progress train. So the health part of my life and the fitness part of my life is probably the number one thing when looking at any type of professional goal. So I'm glad you asked that question, Rod, because I totally try to be a student of that, because I've learned firsthand that it's a must-have, I guess I should say, for anybody that wants to do that.
Well, and if you guys have ever read the book or heard the concept of the flywheel, it talks about something you can do that essentially affects everything else. And, in your program, the 5 pillars you mentioned, that to me, with that flywheel, was sleep and how it affects the morning, which then affects your workout, which affects your nutrition. I look at that from a macro perspective, as that's fitness to me. Fitness is going to increase your overall happiness. Probably you're going to be a better husband, father, dad, whatever it may be, right? And then it also affects your productivity at work, right? It's something, and whether it be a 10-minute walk at first or whether it be an hour and a half HIIT workout, right? That's not the point. But if people can really borrow from the benefits of what that can do for them for the rest of their life and all the other areas, I think that's powerful. And as we're in this remote environment, you look at it and you said, look, no one's winning any awards right now. I get that, right? We're all displaced. This is an odd time that will pass at some point. But what would it mean to borrow and learn a habit that maybe been a struggle and a half when you do have this time, when you're not commuting, to then when things go back to normal, whatever that's going to be, you've built that habit and repetition. So I think about that too a lot, Brett.
Yeah, no question, for sure.
I think of the conversations Brett and I have had about that very thing. It's like recently there's been some struggles with consistency, and I know we've all kind of experienced that. And I say to Brett all the time, I'm like, man, I'm so much better when I get my workouts in. I'm so much more, clear, and so much more, we talk about being on offense. It's just so much easier to be on offense when you've gotten something in the win column for the day. And I agree 100% when you talk about the morning being your most compliant clients. I didn't know that statistic, but that doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah.
I read something or heard something the other day, and maybe you can speak to this, Brett. I won't hold you to your source as like a research paper, man. But in regards to what everyone's feeling who eventually listens to this, you mentioned stress a few times. It's uncertainty, and how that's a chemical thing at times, right? That builds up in our body, and you mentioned how lack of sleep can even perpetuate and affect that. But also, is there something with fitness? And Brett mentioned, I know I just feel better. Rod mentioned, I'm just more productive when I do get a workout. There's got to be some science attached to that when it comes to stress specifically, that even just a workout can find some clarity and reduce stress levels.
Oh, yeah, no question. For one, it helps with cortisol, managing cortisol levels. And then just the endorphins, the release of endorphins, just put your body in a state that's ready to work. It's, ready to do things and attack things versus, just sitting on the couch and watching TV. It's not motivating. Your body's not getting any rush to go out and do anything. That movement creates momentum essentially for your entire body.
Yeah, it's like priming your physical state, which in turn, affects your mental state. I really buy into the idea that people say, well, start, your mind, that you have to have strong mental thoughts to take care of your mind that'll affect your physical. And for some reason, I could understand that logically, but what I've learned that's really helped with me is the idea that the body almost takes care of the mind. When I get my physical workout in, when I take care of my physical health, it just makes everything so much easier. Like you said, clarity and from mental state. Maybe it's because I'm practicing a discipline, whatever it may be. For me, it's been inverse that, when I take care of the temple, that in turn affects the mind and not the other way around for me.
For sure. Yeah, no, I'd agree with that. And, that's kind of with those pillars of health too. That's why movement is above thinking and mindset and learning, because needs that, prove that. And, that's why, like Rod and I have talked about sleep. I could do a whole podcast on sleep. And I mean, it is so valuable for that clear mind. I can tell you the difference of a mind operating on 4 hours of sleep and 8 hours of sleep is unbelievable. From a productivity standpoint, it's night and day. I'm sure, having a new baby around the house, it's a challenge when you're running on empty.
Both of them have babies that are.
It's crazy because sometimes the sleep thing, you don't even know you're running on empty. At times, you think you're getting good sleep, but maybe you're not. And that again, we might very well take you up on the podcast about sleep. I wanted to summarize a few quick takeaways, and then ultimately you leave the listener with something that they can borrow from. But a couple of notes that I wrote down was really back to the basics, and pick a time during the day that you can honor. That stuck with me, whether that's morning for you or whether that's your lunch blocked off that you now can, whatever it is, but pick a time no matter what. If it looks like 15 minutes or it looks like an hour that you can honor, and just start somewhere. You don't have to start 7 days a week. It could be starting small and working to that. But I just am a strong believer in that will perpetuate as, a dog barks in the background as we're at home, baby. This is all part of the fun. So anyway, I wanted to leave, and then I want you to go over your socials, your Instagrams, and you mentioned that workout per day, where people can find you, anything that resource-wise they can get equipped with during this crazy time.
Sure. My personal Instagram is at Brett, Brett, Eddy, Eddy 13, and then at OPEX Southlake, OPEX Southlake. That's our gym Instagram account, and we usually post the videos on both. But on the gym one, it's just in the stories. So on my personal one, you'll find all the information.
And if I may, real quick, I'll underscore the fact, Taylor, you mentioned you've seen Brett's socials every single day, multiple times a day. There's rich content for the listener as well. You guys would definitely want to go check that out and can benefit from that.
That's awesome.
Thank you, sir.
Very cool.
Thank you, buddy. That was rich. It was rich.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that sleep podcast. I'm up on that one. I need some help on that. Brett, thank you so much, man. This is super, super fun. I got a whole page of notes here, which is awesome. So, if we have any questions, I might just, if it's okay, we'll shoot you a couple texts, and hopefully some of the listeners will engage in your content. I know you always bring tons of value. So thank you for spending the time today, and it was an absolute pleasure.
Yeah, what an honor to have you here, Brett. We really appreciate it, man.
It's been an honor to be on here. I really appreciate you guys. So thanks for having me.
All right. That'll do it for episode 5. Thank you for stopping by, guys. That was awesome. I know I'm recharged every time I listen to that. So, hey, please hit the subscribe button. We have an amazing amount of content coming on that's meant to help you and anybody that you know. So, and also please share the podcast if this is something that you saw value in. So as we adapt to the new norm, please remember that just because we're at home doesn't mean that we can't be extraordinary. So as you go about your new norm or your new normal, remember, life is meant to be extraordinary. Thanks, guys.